The hologram flickered in the darkness of Vader's meditation chamber. A rebel spy, captured on the Outer Rim, babbled desperately under interrogation. Most of it was useless supply routes, safe houses, names of minor operatives. But then, one word cut through the noise. Skywalker. Vader's head snapped up. "Repeat that," he commanded. The officer rewound the recording. The spy's voice crackled through the speakers. "There's a boy! Tatooine! Lars Moisture Farm! They call him Luke Skywalker!" The name struck Vader like a physical blow. Skywalker. His son. Padmé had been pregnant. He remembered her telling him. He remembered the joy and terror in her eyes. But the Emperor had told him the child died with her on Mustafar. That Vader's rage had killed them both. A lie. Vader rose slowly, his massive frame trembling with barely contained fury. Palpatine had deceived him, hidden his child, let him believe he had nothing left but servitude and pain. "Prepare my shuttle," Vader ordered. "Set course for Tatooine, immediately." Within hours, Vader's ship descended through Tatooine's scorching atmosphere, the desert planet of his childhood, a place he had sworn never to return to. But now, it held something more precious than anything in the galaxy. His son. The Lars homestead was small, isolated, unremarkable. Vader approached on foot, his black robes billowing in the hot wind. Through the Force, he felt the boy's presence young, untrained, but powerful. The Force sang around him like a beacon. Owen Lars stepped out of the moisture farm, a blaster rifle in his hands. "Stay back," he warned. "I don't know who you are, but—" Vader raised his hand. The rifle flew from Owen's grip and clattered into the sand. "Where is the boy?" Owen's face went pale. I don't. Do not lie to me." Vader's voice was cold, absolute. "I can feel him. Luke Skywalker. My son." The words hung in the desert air. Behind Owen, a young boy appeared in the doorway, no older than 8, blonde hair, blue eyes, Padmé's eyes. Luke stared at the towering figure in black. And Vader's world shifted forever. Luke didn't cry when Vader took him. He stood silent in the cockpit of the Imperial shuttle, watching Tatooine shrink into the distance. Uncle Owen had shouted, Aunt Beru had wept, but Vader had been unmovable. "You are my son," Vader had said simply. "You belong with me." Now, days later, Luke stood in a cold training hall on a remote asteroid base. Vader had called it Vijun, a dark, stormy world where the Force itself felt heavy and oppressive. "Pick up the blade," Vader commanded. A training saber lay on the ground before Luke. He hesitated, then reached down and gripped it. The weapon felt strange in his small hands. "Ignite it." Luke pressed the activation stud. A red beam of energy hummed to life. "Good," Vader said. "Now, strike me." Luke blinked. "What?" "You heard me. Attack." Luke shook his head. I can't. You're my father." "And that is why you must." Vader's voice was firm but not cruel. "The galaxy is filled with enemies, Luke. If you are weak, they will destroy you. I will not allow that to happen." Luke swallowed hard. Then, slowly, he raised the training saber and swung. Vader blocked it effortlessly with one hand. Again. Luke struck again, and again. Each time, Vader deflected with ease, guiding Luke's movements, correcting his stance. "Feel the Force," Vader instructed. "Let it guide your strikes, your anger, your fear. Use them." "Master Yoda said fear leads to the dark side," Luke said quietly. Vader paused. "Who told you about Yoda?" "Uncle Owen. He said the Jedi were heroes, that they fought for peace." "The Jedi were fools," Vader said coldly. "They clung to outdated rules and let the galaxy burn. I will teach you true power, Luke. Power to protect yourself. Power to shape the future." Luke looked up at the towering figure. "Will you teach me to be like you?" Vader's mask turned toward him. For a long moment, he said nothing. "I will teach you to be better than me," Vader finally said. And the training began. The Emperor's hologram loomed in the darkened chamber. Vader knelt before it, his posture calm, but his mind racing. He had known this moment would come. Palpatine's spies were everywhere. It was only a matter of time before he learned about Luke. "You have been busy, Lord Vader," Palpatine said, his voice dripping with suspicion. "Training a new apprentice, I hear." "The boy is strong in the Force, my master," Vader replied carefully. "He will serve the Empire well." "Will he?" Palpatine's yellow eyes narrowed. "Or will he serve you?" The accusation hung in the air. Vader did not flinch. "I live to serve you, my master, as does the boy." Palpatine leaned forward, his twisted face filling the projection. "Bring him to Coruscant. I wish to evaluate his potential." Vader's fists clenched. He knew what that meant. Palpatine would test Luke, push him, and if the boy showed too much promise or too much independence, the Emperor would kill him. "As you wish, my master." The hologram vanished. Vader rose slowly, his mind already calculating. He could not refuse the Emperor's command. But he would not allow Palpatine to harm his son. He found Luke in the training hall, practicing his forms. The boy had grown quickly, both in skill and in confidence. His strikes were sharper now, his connection to the Force deepening every day. "Luke," Vader said, "we are traveling to Coruscant. The Emperor wishes to meet you." Luke's face brightened. "The Emperor? Will he teach me too?" "No." Vader's tone was firm. "You will obey his commands, but you will learn nothing from him. Do you understand?" Luke frowned, confused. "But isn't he your master?" "He is." Vader stepped closer. "But he is also dangerous. He will test you, Luke. He will try to turn you against me. You must be strong." "I won't let him," Luke said with the stubborn determination of youth. Vader placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "I know, but remember, trust no one on Coruscant, not even me." Luke looked up, puzzled, and Vader wondered if he had just made a terrible mistake. The Imperial Palace was a monument to fear. Luke walked its cold, shadowed halls beside his father, feeling the weight of 1,000 eyes upon him. Courtiers whispered, officers stared, and everywhere, Luke felt the dark side pressing down like a suffocating blanket. Palpatine sat upon his throne, smiling as they approached. "Ah, young Skywalker," the Emperor said, his voice oily and false. "At last, we meet. Your father speaks highly of your potential." Luke bowed, as Vader had instructed. "Thank you, Your Majesty." Palpatine gestured toward the viewport. Below, the city planet of Coruscant sprawled endlessly. "Tell me, boy, what do you see?" Luke looked out at the lights, the speeders, the towering spires. "I see the capital, the heart of the Empire." "Do you see order?" Palpatine pressed. "Peace? Security?" "Yes." "And do you know how we maintain that order?" Luke hesitated. Palpatine's smile widened. "Through strength, through fear, through the willingness to do what others will not." He activated a holo projection. Images appeared. Rebel prisoners being dragged to execution blocks. Planets bombarded from orbit. Families torn apart. Luke's stomach turned. "This is the price of peace," Palpatine said. "Does it trouble you, young Skywalker?" Luke glanced at his father. Vader stood silent, unreadable behind his mask. Luke swallowed. "I don't know." Palpatine laughed softly. "Honest, I admire that. Your father has taught you well, but honesty alone will not save you in this galaxy." That night, Luke lay awake in his quarters. He couldn't stop seeing the faces of the prisoners, hearing their screams, feeling their terror. "This is wrong," a voice whispered in his mind. "You know it's wrong." But his father had said the Jedi were fools, that compassion was weakness, that only power mattered. Luke closed his eyes, reaching into the Force, and for the first time, he felt something his father had tried to bury: a warmth, a light, a pull towards something greater than fear and anger. Somewhere, Far away, an old man felt the disturbance. And Obi-Wan Kenobi opened his eyes. Obi-Wan Kenobi moved through the underworld of Coruscant like a ghost. He had changed since his days as a Jedi general. His hair was gray, his face lined with years of grief and solitude, but his connection to the Force remained strong. And through it, he had felt Luke's presence bright, conflicted, teetering on the edge of darkness. I failed Anakin, Obi-Wan thought. I will not fail his son. He tracked Luke to a training facility in the lower levels, far from the Emperor's palace. The boy was alone, practicing with a lightsaber red blade cutting through the air with precision but also hesitation. Obi-Wan stepped from the shadows. Hello, Luke. Luke spun, his lightsaber raised defensively. Who are you? My name is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I knew your father. Before he became Vader. Luke's eyes widened. You're the Jedi. The one who failed him? Yes. Obi-Wan's voice was heavy with regret. But I won't fail you. My father says the Jedi were weak, that they let the galaxy burn. Your father has been deceived. Obi-Wan said gently. By Palpatine. By his own pain. The dark side twists the truth, Luke. It feeds on fear and anger until there's nothing left but hatred. I'm not afraid, Luke said, but his voice wavered. Yes, you are. Obi-Wan stepped closer. And you should be, because you feel the light inside you, and your father is trying to smother it. Luke's grip on his lightsaber tightened. He's teaching me to survive, to be strong. He's teaching you to be a weapon. Obi-Wan's eyes were filled with sorrow. But you are so much more than that, Luke. You have a choice. You don't have to follow his path. Then, what do I follow? Luke's voice broke. I don't know who I am anymore. You're Anakin Skywalker's son, Obi-Wan said, and Padmé, Amidala's son. You carry both light and dark within you. The question is, which will you choose? Before Luke could answer, the doors exploded inward. Vader stood in the doorway, his lightsaber ignited. Step away from my son, Kenobi. The tension in the room was suffocating. Vader's crimson blade hummed as he advanced on Obi-Wan. Luke stood frozen between them, his own lightsaber trembling in his hand. Anakin, don't do this, Obi-Wan pleaded. Not in front of your son. Anakin Skywalker is dead, Vader said coldly. And you, old man, should have stayed hidden. Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber blue light, cutting through the darkness. But before either could strike, the air grew cold. Emperor Palpatine entered the chamber, flanked by royal guards. His yellow eyes gleamed with cruel amusement. How touching, Palpatine said. The Master and the Apprentice reunited at last, and young Skywalker caught between them. Master, Vader said, turning, I will handle this. Will you? Palpatine's smile widened. Or will sentiment cloud your judgment again? He gestured toward Obi-Wan. Kill him, Lord Vader, and let your son deliver the final blow. Prove his loyalty to the dark side. Luke's breath caught. What? Palpatine's gaze turned to him, sharp and venomous. You have been trained, boy. Now is the time to prove your worth. Strike down this Jedi, or die with him. Vader stepped forward. My master, the boy is not yet ready. He is ready, Palpatine hissed, or he is worthless. Luke looked at Obi-Wan, then at his father. His mind raced. Obi-Wan had offered him a choice. Vader had offered him power, and now the Emperor demanded his soul. No, Luke said quietly. Palpatine's expression darkened. What did you say? I said no. Luke's voice grew stronger. I won't kill him. I won't become like you. He deactivated his lightsaber and let it fall to the ground. Palpatine's face twisted with rage. Then you will die. Lightning exploded from the Emperor's hands, arcing toward Luke. But Vader moved faster. He stepped between them, his lightsaber raised, deflecting the torrent of energy. No, Vader said, his voice shaking. Not my son. Palpatine's scream of fury echoed through the chamber, and the real battle began. The throne room was a war zone. Palpatine's lightning tore through the air. Vader and Obi-Wan moved in deadly synchronization, their blades weaving a defensive barrier. But the Emperor was relentless, his power fueled by decades of Sith mastery. "You cannot defeat me," Palpatine roared. "I am the dark side." Vader lunged, his blade aimed at the Emperor's heart. But Palpatine sidestepped, cackling, and unleashed a wave of energy that sent Vader crashing into the wall. His armor sparked. His breathing stuttered. "Father!" Luke screamed. Obi-Wan pressed the attack, but Palpatine was too fast. With a flick of his wrist, he sent Obi-Wan sprawling. Now, only Luke stood between the Emperor and his fallen father. Palpatine approached slowly, his face twisted with malice. "Do you see now, boy? This is what weakness brings. Your father chose sentiment over power, and now he will die for it." Luke's hand trembled. His lightsaber lay on the ground, just out of reach. "Pick it up," Palpatine whispered. "Use your anger. Strike me down. Save your father." Luke's mind raced. He could feel the dark side calling to him, promising strength, promising victory. All he had to do was embrace it. But at what cost? He looked at his father, struggling to rise. At Obi-Wan, bloodied but still breathing. At the Emperor, grinning with the certainty of triumph. And Luke remembered something Obi-Wan had said. "You carry both light and dark within you. The question is, which will you choose?" Luke closed his eyes. He reached into the Force not with anger, not with fear, but with hope. And the Force answered. His lightsaber flew into his hand, but when it ignited, the blade was no longer red. It burned a brilliant, blinding blue. Palpatine's smile vanished. Impossible. Luke opened his eyes, calm and resolute. "I choose the light." He struck. The Emperor screamed, his lightning scattering wildly. Vader rose, his strength returning. Obi-Wan joined them. Together, the three of them pressed forward. And for the first time, the Emperor felt fear. Palpatine was dead. His body lay crumpled at the base of the throne, his twisted face frozen in shock. The galaxy's greatest tyrant, brought down by the combined strength of a Sith Lord, a Jedi Master, and a boy who refused to choose between them. Luke knelt beside his father. Vader's armor was shattered, his breathing weak. "Luke." Vader's voice was a rasp. "You saved me." "You saved me first," Luke said, tears streaming down his face. "On Tatooine, you gave me a choice." Obi-Wan approached slowly, his expression unreadable. "Anakin, after all these years, you finally did the right thing." Vader turned his mask toward his old master. "I did it. For my son. Not for you. Not for the Jedi." "I know," Obi-Wan said quietly, "but perhaps that's enough." In the days that followed, the Empire collapsed. Without Palpatine, the military fractured. Warlords seized power. Rebels surged. The galaxy descended into chaos. But Luke had a vision. He stood before a gathering of Force-Sensitive's former Jedi, redeemed Darksiders, untrained adepts who had hidden for years. Vader stood beside him, his armor replaced with simple robes, his face still hidden but his presence no longer suffocating. "The Jedi failed because they denied emotion," Luke said. "The Sith failed because they embraced only hatred, but there is another way." He ignited his lightsaber blue, steady, balanced. "We will build a new order, one that honors the light but acknowledges the darkness within us all. We will use our emotions, love, anger, fear, not as weapons, but as guides. We will protect the innocent, seek justice, and never again allow the Force to be twisted by dogma or tyranny. The crowd murmured, uncertain but hopeful. Obi-Wan stepped forward. "And what will you call this new order?" Luke looked at his father, then back at the gathered Force users. "We are the Skywalkers," he said simply, "and we will bring balance to the Force." Vader placed a hand on his son's shoulder. And for the first time in decades, he felt hope.